Universal consciousness and divine consciousness. You may ask, what is the difference between universal consciousness and divine consciousness? Universal consciousness is the universal realm of space which none may enter or access, since it rests in a state of equilibrium and self-contained energy. Divine consciousness is the reunion of the original impulses within universal consciousness, which were released to become both the activity and the substance of creation at the moment of the Big Bang. These impulses were explosively divided and then came together in a state of mutual restraint. They were also destined to work forever in the created realm, either separately, manifested as energies, or together, restrained in equilibrium. It is only this realm of divine consciousness that science may penetrate. Perhaps the following paragraph will explain this more clearly. Universal consciousness. Embodiment of universal impulses. Impulse of the will to create in mutual restraint with the purpose to experience itself. Impulse of intelligence in mutual restraint with love. Impulse of intelligent will, equilibrium, impulse of loving purposes. Having given you this intellectual word description of universal consciousness, you will not be any closer to an appreciation of the sublime magnificence and grandeur of the power, nor of the beauty, joy, harmony, ecstasy contained in color and sound beyond your dimension. It is only we who have ascended in consciousness frequencies of vibration to the very portals or edges of the equilibrium of universal consciousness who experience and can radiate the rapture of self-awareness, of true potential without desiring to fulfill it, the wondrous joy of personal fulfillment without lifting a finger. I use this last term metaphorically since, although I retain my individuality, I am active in consciousness only and am in no way physical any longer, and have not been since my continuing spiritual ascension in other dimensions after my death on the cross. You may wonder how it is possible to have such enormous universal impulses within a state of equilibrium. They are in a state of equal and mutual restraint, the bonding, nurturing love impulse, holding, binding the creative, active will under control. I can only explain this phenomenon in the following simple terms. If you place the palm of one hand on top of the palm of the other, with fingertips of each hand touching the wrist of the other hand, and then try to separate them, but still keep them tightly flat on each other, you will gain some idea of the meaning of equilibrium or mutual restraint. Furthermore, you must realize that although your hands are apparently expressing a physical phenomena, they are actually governed by and expressing impulses emanating from your brain. In addition, your brain may be the vehicle of expressing conscious ideas, impulses, but in fact, the impulse is the reality of all movement of any kind, not the physical brain, which is only an instrument of expression of such impulses. I have given you only an intellectual account of universal consciousness. How can I describe for you the latent power, the magnificence of reverence, the rapture, the radiant joy, the state of utter contentment and peace and harmony of its being? Even if you can contemplate and realize that out of this immensity of consciousness, the entire universe has drawn life and form, you cannot perceive more than an electron of the vast, immeasurable, joyous reality of universal consciousness. To fully understand the nature of creation, the reasons why the ego functions as it does, why created entities feel the urges they feel, it must be understood that the nature and quality of universal consciousness is radiant joy, fulfillment, happiness. This is what I termed the kingdom of heaven within you, within your soul, within the deepest recesses of your psyche, which is the intermediary between the radiance of your soul and the shadow self of ego. To return to this transcendent state of glorious, beautiful, happy, harmonious being is your soul's deepest longing. It is this enduring longing, this inborn, unconscious recollection of equilibrium and peace, joy and harmony, which, through the psyche, prompts the ego to manipulate the environment on your behalf. Its consistent purpose is to bring you back to your primal original state of glorious ecstasy, out of which you drew your soul, being, and form. But the ego can bring about your desired joy and pleasure only by means of the two magnetic emotional bonding rejection impulses, which are only materialized impulses to give you your individuality. Therefore, the inborn longing to rejoin the source of being is experienced in the electromagnetic parameters of thought and feeling as more of what gave you a pleasurable feeling previously. More friends, more house, car, clothes, etc. Each time the more has been achieved, there is a little glow of satisfaction, perhaps a showing off to the neighbors to heighten the happiness, gaining one up on them, and another little glow. And then the novelty dies away. The new possession becomes mundane. The senses are again at rest, in equilibrium. Mental tiredness sets in. Routine becomes dull and boring. To generate some life, the ego finds another goal to be achieved, to provide excitement and pleasure. Thus, life is an endless chase for personal satisfaction of various kinds, leaving the hidden soul starved, unsatisfied, still longing for something more. But what is it my deepest self is craving? You ask in desperation. When a person reaches an understanding of the true source of emptiness and continual inner craving for more of what made me feel good before, and begins to meditate, to make contact with that which brought him or her into being, a little of the divine equilibrium filters through the human consciousness, the emptiness begins to recede. If indeed such a person catches a true glimpse of the eternal and the true goal in life, the longing for more possessions will eventually die a natural death. The desire for more possessions will be gradually replaced with a sincere appreciation of what you already have and a sense of consistent contentment. Through experiences of the miraculous interventions of activity, of divine consciousness within the daily life, the human consciousness is greatly uplifted and learns that its daily needs are met in the very best way. Faith is increased and joy enhanced. This is why I have said to you, I have not come to teach you positive thinking, to draw into your orbit the things you want and need. I have come to you expressly to lead you back into the kingdom of heaven. However, it is not only in the matter of desiring more possessions for yourself that your soul is bound down within its secret dwelling place. The ego also uses the magnetic emotional drive to repel, reject, to ensure your individuality, privacy, and safety. This impulse takes on numerous forms designed to give you a feeling of superiority or elitism, or protecting you from people whom you consider to be undesirable or having less social status than yourself. This ego drive is practiced continually and was thought to be perfectly acceptable, even by the churches. The truth is, when the soul begins to gain a little control over the ego drive, it will chide the human personality for its selfishness and exclusivity. It will urge the psyche towards the adoption of unconditional love and a belief in universality and oneness of all people, no matter who they may be. Perhaps now you can more easily understand how and why the creation of your individuality through the medium of the ego formed the great physical impulses capsule, which produced and enclosed your human consciousness, creating both your physical form and your human personality. Since it governs your mind and emotions, thoughts, and feelings, it prevents you from making contact with the source of your life and your soul.